All right, welcome to day 4. Today, we're going to make the first real perception shift in this course. You've already done the hard work of filtering your problem and defining success. Now, we're going to change how you see the system itself. And trust me, that's where the real breakthroughs are hiding. So let me start by asking you a question. Where do problems really hide in a system? It's kind of a trick question because the answer is almost never where we think it is. The real bottleneck is usually invisible, hidden in plain sight until you learn to see things in a completely new way. You know, when it comes to diagnosing a problem, most teams, and I mean most, make the same fundamental mistake. We're going to call it the object trap. It's a really natural way to think, but it consistently points our attention in the wrong direction and leads to the wrong solutions. So what do we usually do? We ask, what's broken? Or maybe, who's responsible? This kind of question immediately frames the problem around objects. People, tools, specific departments. And where does that lead? Inevitably, it leads to a cycle of blame that just hides the real root cause. This slide really nails the shift we have to make. On one side, you've got object thinking. It asks, what is broken? And that just leads to blame. But on the other side, we have functional thinking, the TRIZ approach. It asks a totally different question. Which action is creating the cost, the delay, or the risk? See that simple change? It moves us from finger pointing to genuine insight. It's not about the thing, it's about what the thing does. So let's make that shift. TRIZ gives us a much more powerful lens for viewing any system. We need to stop seeing a collection of parts and start seeing a series of interconnected actions. Why? Because problems don't live inside the components themselves, they live in the interactions between them. And here's the core idea. We define our system by what it does. A function is simply an action that changes something. And once we start seeing our system as a set of these functions, the problems become so much clearer. They aren't broken parts anymore. They are just actions that aren't working right. This whole perspective is the foundation for everything else we're going to do. So let's lock this definition in. A function is an action that changes something. That's it. It's a super simple concept, but really getting it unlocks this entire method. A vacuum cleaner isn't just an object, right? Its function is to remove particles from a surface. That is the difference in thinking right there. And this is the simple, disciplined structure we're going to use to describe everything. Just think of it like this. X acts on Y to produce Z. For example, a hammer acts on a nail to create a result, fastening. This format forces us to be incredibly precise about what's actually happening in our system. Okay, so let's get practical. How does this build into an exercise we can actually do? We're going to use what's called lightweight functional mapping. This isn't about creating some massive, complicated diagram. It's a really focused method designed to make the real bottleneck in your system visible and to do it fast. Here is your exercise for today. Just follow these 5 steps. Start with that true north you defined yesterday. Then, list out the key actions in that system. Now, step 3 is absolutely critical. Remove all the labels. Don't say, the manager approves the report. Instead, say, text approves document. This strips away all our assumptions and forces you to see the raw action. Finally, you'll tag each action and then circle the single biggest bottleneck. Now, completing this exercise is going to give you more than just a page of notes. You're going to walk away with 2 really powerful outputs that will completely redefine your problem and give you a whole new level of clarity. First, you'll have a functional map of your system written in plain, simple language. Second, and this is the big one, you'll have a specifically named bottleneck action. This transforms that vague feeling of, oh, something's inefficient, into a precise, actionable target for innovation. This right here is the wow moment you should be looking for. It's that realization that the problem isn't a thing at all. It's an action. The problem isn't the slow software. It's the action of data transfer being insufficient. When you feel that shift in your own thinking, that's when you know you're on the right track. This way of thinking is the absolute foundation for everything that comes next. Now that we have this incredible clarity about the specific action that's causing the problem, we can start looking for truly inventive solutions. So now that you've identified that core bottleneck action, you've earned the right to go look for solutions. And tomorrow, we're going to step completely outside the boundaries of your current system to find leverage and resources that are totally invisible when you're stuck on the inside. As we keep going, it's time to actually apply these skills. You have 2 ways you can do this for your project in this course. Option 1, which I highly recommend, is to use a real business challenge you're facing at work right now. Option 2 is to follow along with the Hoover Dam case study we've provided. The goal for both is exactly the same, to practice this way of thinking.
Okay, now it's your turn. Look at your true north and begin mapping out those actions. Which action in your system are you going to investigate first? Do the exercise, find your bottleneck, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5.